Welcome to JGTCR. I'm Cope and today we are tuning the Chaparral 2J. Let's get into it. In factory trim, we get an extremely raw drive feel out of the 2J. It only has 3 gears, but it does have a bunch of power at its disposal. In addition to this, the lightweight chassis and abundance of downforce make it more maneuverable than it may seem at first glance. The handling is friggin' awesome, especially for what it is. It will move as we command without hesitation, and it really is hard to think of a time when it disobeyed any of our inputs while racing. This is a trust the downforce kind of vehicle, and once we lean into that notion, the time just falls away. There is plenty of power underfoot. However, gearing makes it a bit awkward to put that power down to the ground. The power delivery has a nasty spike at about 6,000 RPM. We must be careful as it is ruthlessly aggressive and can easily spin us if a spike occurs while cornering. The brakes are right on the money, doing exactly what they have to do, exactly when they need to do it. Let's collect our time. "5 minutes, 50.2 seconds. And now the race tune. There are no power upgrades available for the Chaparral 2J. In addition to this, our downforce settings are also locked. Our tune has massaged out some understeer issues by running a softer suspension setup up front while the rear remains firm. 40 kilos of ballast was also added over the front wheels, again to assist with grip up front. Let's see it in action back on the Nürburgring. Our tweaks and modifications make it seem as though we are going faster. However, we are not really going that much faster. We now have 5 gears available to us, and that gives us the illusion of working this vehicle much harder. The handling feels quite good. The ballast up front helps stabilize the nose and gives us better grip. The front end of the 2J can be destabilized somewhat easily, so use caution when clipping grass or curbs. The power available to us is exactly the same. However, delivery of said power has been chilled out quite a lot. This makes it more stable and manageable when trying to get that power down to the ground. There is still a tendency to step out if we are aggressive on throttle, so it's best to use throttle modulation on corner exit and keep going flat chat for straight sections only. The brakes work well and we can turn and brake quite easily. However, it should be noted that it is far easier to destabilize the 2J when on brakes. So again, avoid curbs and dropping a wheel off circuit. Let's collect our time. "5 minutes, 44.3 seconds. And now the drift tune. We did have to go to some extremes to get the 2J to drift. The standout is the ballast of 200 kilos at a ballast positioning of 22 over the rear wheels. This was to stabilize the rear end as it was quite snappy tom, especially around that 6,000 RPM mark. The rest of our suspension and differential settings support this decision. Let's drift Suzuka. The Chaparral 2J can appear quite twitchy when we first start trying to drift it. However, soon enough we become accustomed to how this vehicle wants to be driven, After that, it all comes together quite nicely. The handling is extremely responsive, but it needs to be to catch the drift when the tail steps out and also to manage the drift itself. The power is more than up to the job of baking those rear tires, and the power delivery is attentive to throttle inputs, be it a light blep to keep things going or flat out on throttle bouncing off limiter. The ballast we have placed over the rear wheels means we lead with the tail. This can take some getting used to, but it works well when we find the flow. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!